Hello everyone, my name is Anna and today I'm going to be building a romantic cottage using only the new Sims 4 Werewolf pack and the base game, of course. So the vibe I was going for was kind of like a honeymoon getaway or like a place a couple might go for their anniversary or like a nice date weekend. Because I was just using the Werewolf pack and base game, there were some romantic touches I wasn't able to include, but I think if you had rope lights or like a bonfire, that would look super cute. And anything you personally find romantic, I want you to add it into this build because romance is in the eye of the beholder. Anyway, I've been wanting to build an A-frame house for a while now, but honestly, I've been a little bit nervous because it looked really hard. I just didn't quite know how you were supposed to make the roof and then like play around the roof. I used a tutorial by Evelyn, who I'll link to in the description. She did a super nice job explaining the nuances of getting an A-frame to not only look good, but function well in the actual game. So if you're looking for a more in-depth tutorial about how to do this, I really recommend you check out her video in the description. The Werewolf pack has a lot of really interesting build items, I think. It's a lot of like rustic and industrial items, which is a pretty cool combination. I wanted to try to incorporate more of the industrial stuff in this build, but it didn't quite work with like the feel I was going for. I might do another build with more industrial items, but I think like the stuff in this pack would synergize really well with the Eco Living pack. And maybe there's like that apartment pack, I think, that came out recently. I don't know what it's called, obviously I don't have it. As I was planning how I wanted to build this, I watched James Turner's video showcasing all the new items that are included in the Werewolf pack. One thing I wouldn't have noticed unless he pointed it out is that the huge wooden support beams that I put on the porch in the front match perfectly with one of the bookshelves included in the game. So you could make it look like someone kind of made like a makeshift bookshelf by putting some boards in between the pillars, which I think is really cool. I really wanted to try to incorporate it somehow, but with the A-frame, it didn't quite make sense structurally. So again, maybe another idea for the future. I love the mossy roof that comes with the game. There's a couple other like colorful tin roofs that have little holes in them that I think are super pretty. And I think what's really cool too is that light actually shines through the roof. So you end up with tiny pinpricks of light throughout the interior of the house, which is very charming, I think. A lot of the decor items are super charming, I think, too. Like, I love this moon mirror with, like, all the crystals and the plants in them, and I love the rugs. And then in a little bit, I'll add, like, some pictures on the wall, but they're all super, super pretty, and they come in, like, a couple sets, it seems like, of matching frames and matching, like, themes, I guess. So it's super nice to create like a cohesive look throughout an entire house. Like you have just enough stuff to make it work. The bedroom is kind of interesting to me. I saw some posts on Pinterest of cabin bedrooms with hot tubs or like bathtubs, either directly in the bedroom or on a deck right outside. I wanted to try to recreate the vibe, but I struggled a bit with how to make it happen. In the end, I really like how it turned out, but it did take some trial and error. If you have the pack with all the wellness and yoga stuff, you could have your sim take a bath with the rose petals, which I think would sound like totally amazing, and I want that for myself. I also really like the knickknacks and collectibles that come with this pack. If you didn't know this already, you can access way more items to include in your builds by using the cheat code bb.showhiddenobjects, all one word. It'll pull up all of the debug items and the collectibles and like craft items. So you can get things like crystals, you can get like prints that you would get from like using the microscope and stuff like that. So in this build, I ended up using, I think I used a crystal maybe, or maybe I didn't, but I did end up using a lot of the like astral photography prints because I thought it fit really well with the theme of werewolves and the moon. I didn't know if it was like a little heavy-handed with the theming or if it was just enough, but maybe you have your own opinion about that. There are some minor things that I'm kind of disappointed about with this build. Mostly I don't like that you can see the underside of the roof. I feel like it kind of takes away from the aesthetic of the cabin. I'm hoping in the future that the Sims team can add another roof tool so that you can customize the underside of the roof. I think I saw Sunny-simsy make some kind of like wooden boards under the roof somehow. I think with the show hidden objects cheat, but I'm gonna have to take a look and see because that looked really nice, I thought. But another thing that kind of bothered me about this build was that there's just like a gray block of foundation under the house that I couldn't paint or customize because the house was like on stilts. I just had to leave it as a boring gray block. It's pretty hard to see unless you really move the camera close to the ground, but it still bugs me. I wasn't sure if this kitchen was gonna work functionally. Like, I've never made an A-frame before, and so I didn't know like how much clearance you needed between like the roof and your items in The Sims in order for it to work, but this all worked well. I didn't have any issues with the actual roof, which I found super surprising. I also love this like book and like jars item that comes with the werewolf pack. It's on the right side of the fridge right now. There's also like this like tray of logs that in one of my builds like just a couple weeks ago, I was literally like, man, I wish I had something like this for the fireplace, and it became true. I'm super excited. I playtested the house for a little bit and it seems like everything works fine. I did end up having to move the rack of pots and pans in the kitchen because for whatever reason, it was in the way when my Sims were trying to use the fridge or the oven. So I think I just put it over maybe the dining room table or like the bar area or like where like the bar stools are. And I think they were able to like eat there and stuff and it was fine. So that was pretty minor, and then I ended up also needing to move the telescope into the front yard by the garden because it didn't work on the deck. I think because there was like some roof over it, the game thought that you wouldn't be able to see the sky, even though the telescope was pointed like away from the roof and the angle would have worked in theory, but in practice it didn't actually work. Other than that though, everything is accessible, which I was honestly kind of surprised about. Like, even the bathtub works. I was 80% sure I was gonna have to change the bathtub, but you can get in. My Sim got in, and that is amazing. I was also worried that, like, the curtains in front of the bed would, like, mess with it too, but no issues with that either. So I'm super excited. That is just a huge win. Another huge win is that when the fireplace is lit, nothing starts on fire to my knowledge. I would still maybe be cautious and like have a fire alarm. There's one in the kitchen that I think will work, but I've accidentally burned down my houses before that way and it's so sad. I think this world is absolutely gorgeous too. The view is incredible, especially during sunset. I think it's very, very romantic, if you ask me. I also live in a place where, like, this is the kind of scenery that people, like, go to for romantic stuff. I don't live on, like, the coast or anything, so I'm a little bit biased because I have personal experiences of these places, or spots that look like this place. So here I'm starting to make a platform in the bedroom so that I can have some separation between the part of the bedroom that is like the bed and the part of the bedroom that's the bath. So I wasn't quite sure initially how I wanted to do this. So I just put the bed on a platform and then I ended up adding more platform later so that the bathtub would be sunken down a little bit. But I really like that like flower lamp that is on the end table. It reminds me of this antique lamp that my grandpa gave me, and I ended up selling in college because I had no money, but I feel so sad about it. I wish I still had it, but I guess now I do, in a way. It's not exactly the same, but it has the essence of my grandfather's long-lost flower lamp. I also love the trunks that are stacked up here. It's in the wardrobe section, and it functions as like an actual wardrobe, which is pretty cool. I tried to light these candles. I don't know if you can or not, or if they're just like that. Maybe I'm missing something, but if you're able to light those somehow, I think that would be super, super cute. Something about like a bathtub in a bedroom seems so luxurious and bougie to me. I'm living for it. Also, like this room in the like sunset kind of lighting is just gorgeous. I love it so, so much. I can imagine you like maybe wouldn't get a lot of sleep here because there's so many windows, unless you had like an eye mask or something. I'm very sensitive to light, so I feel like I would wake up at dawn in this room. But maybe that's okay, you have more time to do fun activities. On the chair, there's like, I have the towels and then the book sitting there. I was trying really, really hard to find like one of the romance books that comes with The Sims, specifically Reel Her In. I thought that would be just awesome to have next to the bath, like reading a romance book in the bath. Oh, heavenly. But I couldn't find it, so I picked a book that I have no idea what it is. Maybe it's romantic. Maybe it has some subplots in it. The windows were kind of hard to add on the sides because of how the roof is made in like several parts kind of spliced together. There aren't a lot of like, it was really hard to do like a true window that went directly into the house. I ended up figuring it out, but I really wanted to add more windows than I had initially, so I'm glad something worked out. I was a little bit nervous about that to start with. I was gonna make this porch a bit bigger, but I didn't know what I would put on it actually, and I liked it the way it was. For the interior paint, I really wanted to keep it simple and bright, so everything that was touching part of the roof tiles, I tried to keep that like white shiplap, and then everything else I wanted to be the white with the simple brown trim on the bottom, because the house itself, there's a lot going on. Like I think there's a lot of lines with the windows, and it's just kind of an interesting design in itself, so I didn't want to take away from that. And I think there's something like romantic about a bright space. Like there's definitely something romantic about a dark space, but I was worried about like treading too far into the like up north aesthetic, like this is our family cabin kind of feel. I wanted it to feel a little bit more contemporary than that. The landscaping was a little tricky for me this time. Usually I do a lot of like cottage gardens and stuff like that, but there's so much natural beauty around here that I didn't really want to take away from that, and I wasn't quite sure how to complement that in a way that felt natural, and I don't know. I ended up just going with like some bushes, which was fine, I think. Maybe in the future I would do something else, but I just really love the pine trees themselves, and I mean, the house itself is kind of busy, so I didn't want to overpower it with anything else. I tried like adding some rocks and some other flowers and stuff, but all of it just seemed to be like too much, so I ended up going simple on this one, which is not typical of me. Well, here's the final product. For the most part, I really like how this turned out. It's my anniversary this weekend, and I would love to stay in a cabin like this to celebrate. I mean, I'd even stay here with friends, but the bathtub in the bedroom might be a little awkward for that. But thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. This helps me know what sort of videos you like watching so I can make more videos like them in the future. Until next time, have a great rest of your day and week, and stay safe.